first video she had in her feed was she was just blankly staring at the screen, and the verbiage that she had written was, "You think you can hurt me? My ex-husband said he'd take my daughter and I could keep my son." And I've had a few suicide attempts. I know what the eyes look like when you're not too long for the world, and I saw that in her, and I reached out, and I said, "You probably get 1,000 messages from 1,000 dudes a day." I said, "This isn't what this is." I said, "I noticed a look in your eye, and I'm here to listen if you need someone to talk to." And I hit send, not thinking I'd hear anything back. About 45 minutes goes by, and I ding, and I open it up, and it's a message from her, and it took me 45 minutes to read it. She unloaded everything.
None of us become who we're meant to be alone. Every story has people who helped write it, so let's talk about them. Welcome to the Mentor Sessions.
Survivor's guilt, it's a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
I lived with that because that sniper, that shooter had to have been dialing in on me the whole time. And I lived with, why didn't he take that shot on me? What stopped him? Why'd he wait? Because I was sitting there the whole time. 8 hours I sat in the same spot, just moving back and forth a little bit here and there. He could have took that shot easy, but he waited. It was really hard to live with. To this day, still, it's the reason I can talk about it as easy as it was the one thing that my therapist, I had to tell this story every time we met until I could talk about it like this without having an emotional response. But to this day, I still wonder, why didn't he shoot? Why didn't he take me? Because I'm the one that had to hand the flag to his mom. I'm the one that spoke at his funeral. My son's named after him. So he still lives on. His memory's still there. I've carried best friend's body parts in a backpack for miles because that's all we could find. I've done and seen things that I wouldn't wish on my own worst enemy, and I got a few, but it ain't worth it. So I carry it, and I remember those Marines always. And I know that they're watching. I know that they're still here. They watch over every single one of us. And it's crazy because just recently, that group of Marines that were over there have all started to reach out to each other. And I don't know if it's the turn in what's going on in the world, or if I think we're all getting older and we're all trying to rekindle that brotherhood that we had. But we've all started to reach out to one another and check on it and make sure everybody's okay. Because we've had a lot go to suicide. I know I was the last phone call for one of our boys, and I had no idea. We talked for 45, and the next phone call I got was he had shot himself. And you, as a service member, and I would probably say as a law enforcement officer too, you don't forget that stuff. It stays with you. It becomes a part of who you are. And to this day, I would take a bullet for anybody. I don't care who it is. I'm one of those guys that always knows what's going on. No, I always know who's in the room. I always know how to get everybody out of the room. I might be a little slower, but I still have it. And it's made me who I am today. I've come to terms with a lot of the stuff that's happened. I've come to the terms with a lot of the stuff I had to do over there, because taking life is not easy. And these people that talk to you like, "Oh, I could do it." You can't. Like, it isn't an easy thing to do, to pull the trigger on another human being. And I've had to do that. And it's a lot of my teammates make that joke. No one really messes with me too much. And I don't want to say that it's they're afraid of me. I think they respect what I've been through, and they know what I'm capable of to an extent. Because you see how I handle myself out there. I don't blow smoke. The first video she had in her feed was she was just blankly staring at the screen, and the verbiage that she had written was, "You think you can hurt me? My ex-husband said he'd take my daughter and I could keep my son." And I've had a few suicide attempts. I know what the eyes look like when you're not too long for the world, and I saw that in her, and I reached out, and I said, "You probably get 1,000 messages from 1,000 dudes a day." I said, "This isn't what this is." I said, "I noticed a look in your eye, and I'm here to listen if you need someone to talk to." And I hit send, not thinking I'd hear anything back. About 45 minutes goes by, and I ding, and I open it up, and it's a message from her, and it took me 45 minutes to read it. She unloaded everything. We went through a situation recently where my youngest daughter, who is 14, she'll be 15 at the end of this month, she chose to go live with her mom full time. And it happened while she was at our house. She had gotten in trouble for not cleaning her room, doing something very simple that we asked her to. And I had got home from work, walked upstairs. She was laying in bed, and nothing had been done. And I will be 100% honest. I did lose my stuff a little bit, and I yelled at her. I said, when I get home from the gym, we'll finish this conversation. Well, went to the gym, came home, and she was gone. And I'm like, okay. So I messaged her mom, and her mom said, yeah, she messaged me and she said she didn't feel safe. Now, if it was the old me, I would completely understand because I would fly off the handle. I would get loud. Never have I laid my hands on my kids, but I would be scary. And this time it wasn't like that. I stayed relatively calm. I did raise my voice, but I was standing in the doorway. I never made it into her bedroom. So her mom came and got her. And that was almost 2 months ago. I think I've heard from her 3 times in 2 months. And all 3 times it wasn't a very fun conversation. And I love you. I hope that you're happy. I wish you would have talked to me because if this is what you wanted, we could have facilitated that. Because all I want for my kids to be happy. They don't have to live with me. I don't have to live through my children. I have my life. I do my things. But I want them to be happy and know that they're allowed to be happy. So that's been a huge, like, it was, and it put me down for a bit. Nah, I've had to tell myself, like, no matter what, she's safe. She has a roof over her head. She has food. She's getting to school. Everything is fine. She hasn't cut herself off from anybody else but me and my wife and our home. She still talks to her older brother and sister who go back and forth to that. Well, the oldest lives with us now, but my son still goes back and forth every other week. So she still talks to them. She still texts her stepbrother and sister. She still goes out and sees my parents and her cousins and stuff. So she hasn't cut herself off. She's just cut herself off from me. And then I figure it's probably the age she's at, and you just kind of roll with it. A lot of it is what it is. I probably should get that tattooed somewhere because it's definitely a go-to in my everyday life. It is what it is. You can't fix it. You can't change it. So I just make it a point every couple of days. I text her and say I love you and I hope everything's going well. And sometimes.
So if you could tell her something right now, what would you tell her?
So if she were to listen to this, what I would say is, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for losing my temper. But no matter what, I love you. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what happens. That love is always going to be there. And I've told her she's welcome back anytime. I know it'll be stressful for a little bit because you have to put that puzzle back together. You know, the box got shaken.
Yeah.
And I tell her that. I've told her that. It hurts me as a dad, but I see it hurts my wife because she's been a part of their life for 7 years. Her kids have been a part of their life for 7 years, and I can see how it hurts her kids because now we're one kid down. My older two are 16 and 20. Her kids are 13 and 8, and then my daughter will be 15, and it's kind of thrown a loop for the household. It's something we've learned, and we're learning to deal with it day by day. Payette's a small town, so we do see her in passing, but it's there's a lot of tension there, and I think time will tell. I lost my job, and I was going through some serious depression, like not able to get out of bed, didn't shower for weeks, had no direction. The only thing that was really keeping me going was the weeks that I had my kids, because then I would get up and I would have to, because I had to be a dad. The weeks where I didn't, drinking. I never really got into heavy drugs, but I drink a lot, and I was doing just dumb stuff, bringing women in and out revolving door because they didn't want to stick around after they figured out how messed up I was. So my oldest daughter picked up TikTok, and I was being me. I was like, "What is this? What are you doing?" And she's like, "Well, it's an app on your phone where you make funny videos and you post funny videos." And I said, "Okay, here's the deal. You can have it on your phone, but I'm going to put it on my phone and you have to follow me so I can see what you're posting and what people are saying." So she said, "Okay." So I put it on there, and she goes, "Okay, here's the thing, Dad. You can't just be a weirdo. Like, you have to post something on your page." And I was like, "Well, I don't know how to do that." So she showed me how. So I made a couple stupid little funny like lip syncing videos to like comedy sketches. No lighting, no nothing. And like obviously people start following you. And then what I did was one day I opened the app, I put it in my windowsill, and I just happened to have the bedroom that the morning light shined into the window. And I set up and I looked at the camera. I said, "Good morning, TikTok. Welcome to your daily dose of inspiration." And I said the first random inspirational thought that came to my head. And then I posted it. And I just forgot about it. And I got up and I showered. I motivated myself that day. And came back and I like 100 followers, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." So I did that every day, and it started out literally every morning. no matter how I felt, I would sit up, put it in my window. Good morning, TikTok. Welcome to your daily dose of inspiration. And then I realized I really liked doing that because it was COVID. The world was shut down and people needed it. So I wasn't just motivating me, I was motivating other people. I was mentoring people I didn't even know. And they were telling me this, like, we needed to hear these things. And I'm like, I'm just saying the first thing that comes to my mind to get me out of bed so I don't rot. So then I started researching and I got lights and I researched videography and I started to make them look good. So then it was I would get up and that was what I did. That was what got me out of bed. I would get up, I would get dressed, I would put myself together, and then I would make the videos. So then they started to get a little bit more production value to them. And it was always good morning tick. That was my tagline. Good morning, TikTok. Welcome to your daily dose of inspiration. We were bedroom kids. Our kids are living room kids. I read that the other day and it hit me.
Tell me about that.
We were raised as bedroom kids. Just go to your room, be quiet, seen and not heard.
Yeah.
Right. My kids are out loud.
Yeah.
They like they'll roast me with the best of them, and they're good at it. But they know that they can't because it's different now.
Yeah, I'll tell you, our first home when we were married, when we got married and we had our little kids, we lived in a little single wide trailer in a little, really not so nice trailer park, you know.
Right.
Being a cop, when I told people where I lived, they're like, "You live where?" I'm like,
It's what you can afford.
what we could afford at the time. But I miss that trailer so much, especially when my kids became teenagers and we had a nicer house. They had their own rooms and stuff like that. Because in the trailer, we were all right there. You
Right.
can't escape each other. And I think that's something that a lot of parents, I don't know how to word it, but seeing that, like, as a dad, if I can see you and I can see who you're texting and who you're talking to, I know you're safe.
Right.
I don't want to smother you, but if you're within the confines of this room, I know you're safe.
Right. And it makes sense because so my wife and I, we just bought a house 2 years ago. So we were living in a rental that was very small. The kids had to share rooms. So everybody was out in the living room because that was the collective shared space and it was the biggest part of the house.
Right.
When we bought the house, they all have their own rooms. They're all spread out. So like the girls live upstairs, the boys have their own like den in the back that's all theirs. And then our youngest daughter lives right downstairs off the kitchen, so she's literally like 10 feet from the master bedroom. But now they come home, they go to their rooms, and it's not, we don't tell them to go, they go to their rooms, and it's like you don't see them again till dinner time. So we do most of our talking at dinner time, and I would most times screw it up because that's when I would let out all of my frustration with the kids because that's the only time you see them. And that was one of the things my wife brought up that humbled me the other day. She's like, you do this at dinner and it ruins dinner for everybody, even you, because you don't even eat. You're too focused and in that zone that all you're doing is talking. Then nobody else wants to eat. And it's like looking and hearing or seeing and hearing that was a huge wake up call. And I get wake up calls like 2 or 3 times a month because I put those walls up and I just go. Like, I have to provide. I got to be able to bring the money in. I got to do this. I got to do this. I miss my son's stuff. I miss my daughter's things because I got to work. It all weighs on you as a dad. You want to be present, but you can't be present. And for me, all I've ever wanted to be was a present father. And so when I can't be, even though my kids are like, it's okay, we understand. It's like, no, you understand to an extent. You'll never truly understand until you have kids of your own. And then you want to be present for them, but you can't because you have to be at work. And now that all the schools have gone away from Friday school, they do all of their events Friday afternoons, and I'm at work. So
yeah. No, I get what you're saying because when I was on the job, you miss a lot of dinners. And I always felt like, and it sounds like you kind of have the same experience, dinner's the one time that you get together and it turns into Seinfeld's airing of grievances, right?
it's pretty much it.
I've got a lot of problems with you people,
Yep.
and we're starting with you today.
Yeah, and that's how it would go. And I've done a lot better since she brought it up. And I told her, I said, I appreciate you. I need you to do that. I said, because I don't realize I'm doing it. So if you bring it up and you show me, I might look like I hate you, but I don't. I appreciate the fact that you feel comfortable enough to tell me. All it takes is 12 minutes.
Tell me about that.
It's something one of my Marines told me. And he called me. He said, hey, you got time? I said, yeah. He goes, all I need is 12 minutes. 12 minutes is all it takes to help change somebody's mental thought process. 12 minutes of you just listening. Don't speak, just listen for 12 minutes. And it's amazing because I've had people do it for me. And a lot of people, sometimes you have to say, hey, I just need to talk. Can I have 12 minutes? Let me talk. I don't want to hear advice. I don't want to hear your thoughts. Just please let me talk. We'll go back and forth after those 12 minutes are over. It's little things like that that hit you, especially when you've done things like you and I have. I'm really bad about talking to people. I don't feel like anybody needs my darkness, because my dark is dark. And I've never wanted to put that on anybody else. And I've hit rock bottom so many times in my life and built myself back up with very little help from anybody else. Not talking, no one even really knowing that I was going through anything, because I put the smile on, I clean, I do all the things to hide the fact that my world is falling apart. I've told myself that I need to be better, and it's one of the reasons I agreed to do this. I need to be better about talking about everything I have in here that no one else knows about, or just the select people that I choose to let know about. Like, I would say the Sabres don't even know 90% of what I've been through. They know a little bit, just what I'm willing to tell them, but not everything. But yeah, it was been a struggle. It doesn't help the thought process of being a failure. And I'm proud of myself that I never did pick the bottle back up. Like, I'll have a few drinks here and there at a barbecue around people that I trust, but I never picked it back up the way I did when I was younger. And to me, that's progress. The fact that I'm coming up on my 4-year wedding anniversary in May, that's progress for me. That she stuck around that long. Because I'm not an easy person to be around. I have affirmations written on my bathroom mirror in Sharpie marker, and it's little things like that that I figured out help me to remind myself that it's okay to continue.
Go back to that, because you've talked about what you were doing on TikTok, just daily inspirational things that you're waking up in bed, and you say something. How much did those daily messages, as you're uttering them, ring in your head to help get you going for the day?
That's what they were for. 100%. I didn't do them for anybody else but me. In the beginning, it was all for me. It was to get me out of bed, to get me moving. And then as I realized it was helping people, I would look for more inspirational stuff to say, like less out of my head, more out of reading, more out of books. I would find quotes, but I would put them in my voice with my face.
Sure.
For some reason, people liked my voice and liked my face. I use my social media to not only help me process events that happen in my life, but those events, I utilize them to make the videos, but I direct them so they can help anybody that hears them. And as long as that video hits one person, then it did its job. So like when my daughter left, I made a video, and I'm not afraid to show my emotions in them either. Like, I teared up. I had some friends going through some stuff, and I took what they were going through and I made a video and made a message and put it out there. And they saw it and they're like, "Oh, that helped me a lot." I can't believe it. And I'm like, "Bro, you were the one that gave me the inspiration for the message." So now I take and I gather inspiration from everywhere. And it's like I was very unhealthy. So my wife and I chose to stop being unhealthy. Like, one day we were just like, "Okay, we're done." And we put the alcohol down and we fixed our diet and we started going to the gym, and it was right about the time I joined the Sabres, so 3 seasons ago, is when all of this started. And I've got 2 bad knees, and I'm playing this sport where it's extremely hard on your body.